So yeah, so so I had the circle of sulfur, and I was calling out the demon's name, and suddenly it appeared, and it was indescribable. It was like this amorphous creature with tentacle arms, and I was just amazed by it. And then suddenly the guy reached out to answer the phone, and he disappeared, and it's just like a flash of light, and he just went into another dimension. It was
Huh. So
amazing.
that's what happens when you call Cthulhu. Apparently he's a
Yeah.
very busy... Oh,
Yeah.
shit. We're broadcasting.
Oh, we're live? Oh, crap.
Oops.
Mhm.
Well, hello,
Oops.
everybody that we have that isn't on Mad Stream right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because it just popped up on mine that Matt is live, but he's been live for an hour or so.
Yeah, he was talking with somebody named Comedic something. Not Comedic, excuse me. I can't remember the person's name.
Come on, where's my... Oh, why is it not showing my bell icon? What is wrong with you right now, YouTube? Because I'm trying to get to the live chat and it's not showing my bell icon. That is really, really, really weird. Maybe it's because this is in full screen, is it? I don't know. I guess my computer is being a jerk right now.
Well, I'm keeping an eye on the chat. We got Animist in the channel. Hey, Animist, how's it going? Comedic is in the house. Robert is here. Hey, Robert. Hey, Comedic. And Kawaii's Witch. Hello, Kawaii's Witch. And that's it. She's a fake Comedic. Oh, yeah, ancient Egyptian magic. That's who it was. Oh, and it's Moat of Labrosse. Hey, Moat. And Mary Morning is in the chat, too. Hey, Mary, how's it going?
For a second, I'm going to mute myself because it's going to get allowed.
Oh, okay. All right.
Does that mean I have to actually talk now, or am I still allowed to hide in the background?
I don't know. You can hide in the background if you want. See, now we have an opportunity to talk shit about Loki because she can't say anything.
Oh yeah, well, I guess I'll start. I find her art very drab and repetitive.
Ooh, low blow.
You whore!
Have you ever seen her earlobes? It's like a freak of nature, man.
Oh man, a sacrifice gone wrong, if you ask me.
Yep.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Like monkey earlobes.
Mookie's talking baldy.
Ooh.
Oh, I can't wait for the Halloween show that we're gonna do. Get myself a nice bald cap, a nice white beard.
some glasses.
And that's gotta work in my old man voice, so.
Yeah, I may be late for that one because I'll be coming home from an anime convention, so...
Well, you don't even have to get out. You won't even have to get out of costume.
No, I won't.
Costume.
I'll come in dressed as Ezekiel Maxwell from Hellsing. So, boom, you have your Catholic priest.
There you go. But do you dress up for like anime conventions and stuff like that?
I do. This year, I'm doing Ezekiel Maxwell from the Hellsing sagas, which I'll be in my beautiful little vest I made. Right now I'm debating if I'm going to be able to do the Mord Sifs or not, because I may not have time to finish the leather armor. But I will be going and getting a trench coat, and I'm altering it to do a Final Fantasy 12 character, a concept that I had with one of the side guys who's also the narrator. I'm doing Marquise Helm Ondor V as a sky pirate.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to dress up as a cranky priest, somebody who wants to hurt people, and a pirate. Yeah, flies in here.
Nice.
I'm pretty good.
So
Someday I'll have to actually I'll actually have to cosplay just once, just for the hell of it.
It's fun. It's therapeutic because you don't have to act like your fucking self ever.
Mm.
And yes, I am a furry, but I don't have my fursuit done and I won't be wearing it, sadly. When it gets done, I will wear it just to scare the hell out of people. Because it's happy colors. Because Zabora just asked me, aren't you a furry?
Hey, Dorian, have you ever cosplayed?
I have, but never to that extent. The most stuff
Okay.
I've ever done is I went to like a Value Village, picked up some used clothes, added a little bit of makeup, and went all cheap at it. So
Okay. And what did you go as?
1 year I went with an ex-boyfriend, and we were demon hunters.
Mhm.
I can't remember from what anime though. And then I dressed up 1 year as Ryuk from Death Note.
Oh, okay.
But that one took like a long time to scrounge up. So
Mm.
I would think so. I don't know
It
where
was
they're going to
hot
get me high platform boots.
and where I live, all the anime conventions are in the middle of summer. It's brutal.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
Why do you think we were okay with taking ours to October?
Yeah, October's like the perfect time to do it.
Because all
'Cause
the
then you
Halloween
don't-
stores are open.
Yeah, and also you don't feel so stupid like walking around in a costume.
What do you mean? I just gotta say, people, I'm a witch. What are you gonna do? SJW is like, you prejudiced now, bro? Huh? Are you PC, bro? I'm PC, bro. Come on, bro.
You PC, bro? Come on, bro. Come at me, bro. I'm more righteous than you are, bro.
But so next month, in October, you're going to see me go blonde, and then my hair is going to turn silver. So
Uh-oh.
I have to do it for Maxwell because I cannot find a long blonde silver wig that long for cheap. So my hair is just going to have to be sacrificed. Yeah.
Well, you guys have like a Savers up there, right? Like a Valley Village or Savers, whatever you call it up there.
I don't
Seems
think
like-
so.
Seems like you should be able to find one even online, shouldn't you?
The one that they're asking for $20 for the wig itself, and then almost $15 in shipping. And it is a nylon wig, and those do not brush out well, and you need to brush them out.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going all right, where's the gallon of bleach? There goes my brown hair color.
Aw.
And my work's okay with me having weird hair color because after it goes silver, I'm going to end up doing blue again.
Well, that's okay. In
Because right now-
October, when you go blonde, Dorian and I will use small words and talk slowly.
Fuck you both. You
You'll be
already
like-
have to do that.
You'll be like, I don't understand. What are you guys talking about? Oh, great. Loki's having another blonde moment.
No, actually, I got a little surprise for Hellbound right now because Hellbound chose the title of this video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I did.
So I'm gonna turn my camera on for a little bit here, and
He's dressed as a
uh,
Nazi. Everybody
get you
get
guys
ready
a
to
little
pounce
input
on him.
here.
Oh,
Need you guys a
no.
little input here. What do you think? Little,
I-
is it okay?
I just punched my screen. Burn him. Drag him to the stake and burn
Ah.
him.
You do realize I know a few people who have hats that say "Make America Great Again, Burn the White House."
Oh, that would be nice. I would
You know-
love to
you
get my
know-
hands on one of those.
Canadian.
You know what you should do, Dorian? You should cross out America and write in Canada.
Oh.
Wear some rainbow suspenders,
No,
go
you should-
downtown and be like, woo!
Another good thing is to have it make Americanada great again.
Americanada.
Americanico, because you can't forget Mexico.
Americanico.
Always remember 7-Eleven.
Oh,
That will never die. That's gonna be like a George Bush quote, man. It's gonna stick around for a long time.
you know,
Kinda like he does.
some some kid and his dad got beat up in Berkeley because he was wearing a Make America Great Again hat.
Which is stupid. I mean, just because somebody supports something doesn't mean they're a freaking Nazi.
But they are. It's automatically. Don't you understand? I mean, if you're a Republican or a conservative or voted for Trump, you're automatically a Nazi.
Asshats. No, not those people. Just the people who think that. I'm the person in the middle ground going, I hate both sides right now.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Where's my flamethrower?
I don't like Trump. I think he's an absolute idiot, and I didn't vote for him, but I'm absolutely appalled that people are acting the way that they are towards Trump supporters. It's making me ashamed to be a liberal.
Yeah, I know some people who voted for Trump, and they're generally good people. And I know that they voted for him because they believe that he could do something good for us. And a few of them are like, I'm kind of regretting my choice, but
they're like, oops.
The thing is in the end, it's just politics. And when you look at an actual person, it doesn't mean that they stand for everything one politician stands for.
Right. Exactly. That's very good point, Loki. I agree with you. Exactly.
Every side has good things going on, and they also have bad things going on. I mean, I hate to say it, as of recently, I've been agreeing with John McCain, and that's weird. And I hate the guy. So it's just one of those, you're going to have to take the bad with the good and the good with the bad.
Yep. What about the solar eclipse? Did you have a chance to see it?
I did, and my neighbor was nice enough to give us an extra pair of the eclipse glasses he has, which I will never make fun of these things because they actually work. And I did post a video for my cell phone. It kind of sucks, but hey, it was pretty cool. We only had about 98%, so we didn't go blacked out.
Right. Yeah.
And my mom had about generally the same experience, where for them they only had about 80% in Hemet. So, but it was pretty cool.
And did you have a? I don't know where you are in Canada, Dorian, but did you guys? You probably didn't have the eclipse where you were, right?
We had a partial of it, like
at
its apex. It maybe looked like it was just a cloudy day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it was here.
It was hyped out to the arse up here, like news crews, people standing around all over. Like I felt kind of let down, but it was still pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw it on TV, but yeah, where I live, it was nothing. It was also overcast here, so it was like, I think the sky got like maybe just a little gray, and that's about it, because we were too far away from the penumbra to really perceive it at all. And even so, it was so cloudy you couldn't perceive it.
Yeah, it just made it look overcast in a lot of places, and that's what my mom said, because she's in lower Southern California in Hemet. So
yeah,
for her, she's like, we were able to see some of it, but not very much of it. You'd have to use the finders for it. But it was pretty cool. I'm not going to dock that. It was very cool to me. I actually did sit out there with one of my crystal balls because I'm that big of a nerd. And we were just sitting there passing the glasses back and forth, recording it on my phone. I didn't live stream it because my phone is still partially shattered. So.
Oh, wow. Well, there's going to be another one in 2024, but I don't know exactly where the path of where the path of it is.
It's going to at least be visible in the U.S. again.
Is it? Okay, good.
Yeah. But this was one of the ones that was almost exclusively visible in the U.S. and Canada.
There's a cycle to solar eclipses and lunar eclipses, but I don't remember what that cycle is. I know it's. Yeah, I don't know what the cycle is. I'd have to look it up again.
Yeah. But now we also have the hurricane going on in Texas. So if
Yep.
anyone has family in Texas, they're in my candlelight. So we hope for the best. Because all I know is right now that place is a madhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, it was severe flooding.
So besides all the negative news this week, oh, how about them videos?
Yes. How about them videos?
I too like
let me-
videos. The play button especially is my favorite feature.
I know. The mute button's my favorite feature because some of these people need to be put on mute. And aha. Screen share. I will do this one. Damn it, I gotta make that big so I can hit share. And I am present to everyone. There we go. You guys see that all right, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They're pretty light bulbs. And let me know if I need to turn it down or up.
Okay.
I'll probably turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Welcome to Truth Revolution. This is where faith and reason meet for like the last 5 years. Yeah.
Better?
And welcome, man. I'm Pastor Dave. This is Pastor Jeff. We are from Revolution Church in Salina campus. That's right. And you all have been coming here. The church has been growing. Things have been going well.
Mhm.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a service time adjustment. Now our show today is about, well, tomorrow's Halloween. When this airs, the next day is Halloween. So we're going to be talking about demons and the occult today. You don't want to miss this. But also, I got to make sure that you know, next Sunday we're changing our service times. Yes. And it's daylight savings time, right? And it's daylight savings time. Oh. So our church service is going to be at 10 o'clock, 11:30, and 5 p.m. Right. That's going to be a challenge. Shifting them around a little bit. 10 o'clock, 11:30, 5 p.m. We'd love to have all you come on out. But yeah, let's just jump right into this topic. It's going to take a lot of time to get through this today, pretty sure, because it's not just Dave and I. We've also brought in an extra brain today. Right, astronomer and best-selling author Hugh Ross.
Oh, I had a very weird opinion here.
Advancing scientific discoveries with the timeless truths of Christianity.
Okay.
I've just noticed, like, if you look at the guy in the colored shirt there, he's giving the, like, I love you eyes to that guy. He's, like, moving around like, oh, go on, man. I can't get enough of your words. He's like feeling like fidgeting around, like moving around. He's just like, I love that bacon shirt, man. Oh.
Yeah, but is he in love with the guy or is he in love with bacon?
That's a good question.
He could be looking at that shirt going, oh man, I want that bacon. I want to wrap my lips around that bacon.
Somebody needs to take a screenshot of this and actually make it a meme.
Where it's just like, oh, that guy makes bacon look good. Look at him, just covered in it. Mm.
Just where it paused it too is perfect.
Yes. Cover me in grease, baby.
Fill me up with Jesus bacon.
Jesus bacon. Oh
I need
man,
to
that's
drink
a
wine.
good one. Yeah, that's what we need. We need a meme, Jesus bacon. Oh, and then somebody was saying in the chat, can you make it full screen?
It is full screen.
Oh, it is full screen. Okay.
It's just they have weird borders on it.
Gotcha. Bacon porn. Jesus
died from bacon. Oh my God, Leon, thank you. That is great.
Jesus, the other white meat.
Well, it works for what's like on the background there. Is like God cares more about what's on the inside than the outside.
Oh God.
Ah,
Oh.
you need God inside you.
It's funny because Jesus didn't do pork.
That is true. Jesus was
Or did
totally
Jesus? Oh. Whew. Any other bacon puns we can come up with, guys?
Not right now, no.
No.
His organization, Reasons to Believe, is dedicated to demonstrating via a variety of resources and events that science and biblical faith are allies, not enemies. Sounds a lot like what we want to do, right? Except they're actually scientists while we're pastors. So, hey, welcome, Dr. Ross, to the show. So glad to have you here again.
Well, thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you. You've blown our minds the last show, and one of these more recent times, we got talking about your book. It is Lights in the Sky and Little Green Men. We ended up talking about this, even though it wasn't the subject. Right. And now we've had you back on the show today because this is all about angels, demons. We did a show about UFOs. You brought up the book. You talked about it, and we went, whoa, Halloween's coming up. Got to have him back for this. Tell us a little bit about your book, Aliens, Demons, Lights in the Sky and Little Green Men. Tell us a little bit about that book, and then we're going to get in. I'm going to ask you some questions about the occult, and about demonology and things like that.
The book focuses on one segment of the occult, namely UFOs. And I've been studying UFOs since I was 16, not by choice, but just because people said, hey, you know the sky, what's going on up there? And I've been getting a lot of experience. As an astronomer, I can tell you 99%.
Yes.
So what does UFOs have to do with the occult?
I think it's because they come from the sky. And we do a lot of astronomy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would never associate. I mean, I have a relative who's really into UFOs. I mean, he's really into, like, he goes to conferences and all this stuff. He's really into that, and like discovering what supposedly our military is covering up. And I mean, he's really into that. But it doesn't have anything to do with the occult. I mean, they believe that, like, we have been visited by unidentified flying objects, and but I would never ever associate it with the occult.
I think it's also because some people believe they're star children, so they believe they're aliens to begin with, and that they're just trapped in humanoid bodies, and they're some of the spiritualists of this day and age, so more of a hokey pokey, weirder New Agers.
Yeah, okay, but I think that would be more New Age.
And for some reason, they put everything that deals with the occult into the same category as New Age as well. So, I mean, yeah, I believe there's other worlds out there, other life out there, but I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm going to spend my life researching aliens to prove they exist. I'm pretty sure they do. And if they want to say hi, they'll come say hi and take a cow or two.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, I wouldn't associate UFOs and the occult.
I wouldn't either. I would associate space, just not the UFOs.
Although one thing I always notice is all those weird Christians, it's just like, oh, the aliens are secretly demons here to test humanity, and it's just like, that's their whole reason.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it said Christians thinks aliens are demons as well.
In disguise.
So. Yeah.
Demons in disguise.
They're not Transformers, damn it.
Transformers. Demons in disguise.
Oh my god. Remember Pokemon?
Okay, Pocket Mario, calm down.
You're really.
Oh.
What people report as UFOs are not real UFOs. They have a natural explanation, or it's a hoax, or it's some secret military aircraft or device that's responsible for the UFO encounters. Sometimes it's an optical illusion. I've seen a number of photos I refer to as a chandelier effect. Where people are photographing this cluster of UFOs in the horizon. They said, well, were you inside a building taking that photograph with the window in front of you? And he said, yeah, why do you ask?
Uh,
They're behind you because reflecting off the window, making you think you've got all these UFOs up the horizon.
that's
And if you
funny.
move around, it actually makes the lights on the horizon that move around with it. So 1% residual, that really is what I would call a residual UFO or a real UFO. And these are phenomena that are non-physical but real. And so what I describe in our book is how we have scientific evidence that this is actually a real phenomenon. Now, one of the professors I had when I was at the University of Toronto was Carl Sagan. And his comment was, well, the UFOs they don't exist. It's because his worldview would not permit the existence of non-physical reality, as my worldview does. And here's the evidence. There's about 2,000 documented cases of these UFOs going through the atmosphere, very high velocity, and crashing into the Earth.
Hey,
And you go to the crash site, the snow is melted, the ground is depressed,
Yeah,
the
hold on.
vegetation is
Where did
damaged,
my mouse go?
but there's no artifacts at the site, no debris.
There. Wait.
If a plane crashes into the Earth, there's always
There it is.
debris there. In this case, nothing. Through the atmosphere at
Come on,
18,000
Paz.
miles per hour, no sonic boom, and no heat friction as it went through the atmosphere. That would not be the case
It's
if it was a
speaking of
physical
pausing.
object. And so we're talking about something that clearly is real, because look at the damage, but it's non-physical because it's violating the laws of physics and is leaving no debris.
There.
Okay, so there you go. So, all right. So first of all, UFO, it just means an unidentified flying object. So if you're a pilot and you are up in the air and you see something and you contact ground control and you say, hey, are there any aircraft in the area? And they say, no, we don't have any. And then you're like, okay, well, I have a visual on an object and I don't know what it is. That is labeled an unidentified flying object. So unidentified flying objects do exist. That is a fact. They do exist. What the question is if they are alien, if they are not of this world, and that's where it comes into question. So a lot of things that people see up in the skies, they try to take pictures of it, whatever, they call it UFOs, and they believe it's evidence for an alien. And oftentimes it's not. Sometimes it's a weather balloon, sometimes it's a playing a trick, sometimes it's a satellite, sometimes it's all kinds of various different things, and often they can figure out what it is by triangulation, and especially because everybody has a camera nowadays, multiple angles of it, they can find out about it. So I don't think Carl Sagan said that UFOs don't exist. I think he may have said that there's no evidence that aliens exist. That's probably what he said. Because I've also heard Carl Sagan say that the chances for life on other planets is very, very high. I mean, because there's so many stars in our solar system and the possibility that there are planets that support life, there probably is alien life out there on other planets. And then the last thing is, just because 1,000 people or 10,000 people believe this stuff doesn't make it true. It's the same thing. Christians often use the same argument. They'll say, well, there's so many people who are ex-witches and they claim that that doesn't matter. Just because multiple people believe something doesn't make it true. What is it? It's a ad populum fallacy. Just because the majority of people believe something doesn't make it true.
Yep. I mean, I will admit, though, I have watched a lot of lists on YouTube about different planets and solar systems that could sustain life, or that we could use as a second Earth. And there is quite a few planets out there that have a sustainable atmosphere and all that for what we perceive as sustainable life, or sustain our lives. I mean, not to say that another planet can't sustain life with their own conditions, because it's their own planet and things evolve differently on those. So, I mean, anything is possible, and saying that it's not possible is just being an ignorant idiot.
Yeah.
When it comes to space.
Yeah, and I mean, there has to be a lot of factors. It has to be within the sweet zone, which is, it has to be far enough from the sun where the planet's not getting burnt up. And it also has to be not far enough from a sun, or sometimes a binary sun, that it's too cold. And our planet is actually, we're actually incredibly lucky because we have a moon. And the moon actually causes us to have seasons because, excuse me, the tilt of the earth causes us to have seasons, which is very important. And the moon also helps to keep our, oh shoot, I forgot exactly what it does, but the moon, our moon is very important to our
tides.
life. Yeah, but it's actually more than just tides. It's actually more than that. I can't remember exactly what it is right now. But anyhow, so to find a planet that supports life the way that we expect life to exist, meaning similar to us, is really rare. But again, it's almost infinite, the amount of possibilities that are out there.
Exactly. Oh.
The moon protects us from asteroid bombardment. Yeah, I'm sure too. But also Jupiter is really good for that. Jupiter draws a lot of asteroids because of its size.
Yeah, so the moon and Jupiter are our friends.
Mm-hmm.
So never say Zeus hasn't done anything for you.
Yep, yeah, because Jupiter is freaking huge. I mean, it's mind-bogglingly huge. It's huge.
Free for artifacts as physical evidence.
Okay, so what you mentioned before and what you're saying right now is that those non-physical objects are coming to the sky. So what people are seeing, if they're non-physical, and this is some type of demon UFO, if they're non-physical, how can people see them?
Well, okay. God has created two different species of intelligent life. Human beings, and we human beings are constrained by the physics of the universe and the dimensions of the universe. But he created another species of intelligent life. We mentioned them, angels.
Mm-hmm.
These angels are not constrained by the physics of our universe. They have the power to come into a realm. They have the power to take on apparently physical form, but they can leave at will. They're not constrained by the physics of the universe. I mean, Hebrews 13:2 says, many of us have entertained angels unawares. They can take whatever physical form they choose. They can come as a leprechaun, they can come as a dirigible, they can come as a flying saucer, they can come as your dead grandfather, whatever form they so choose. But they can also exit anytime they want from our physical realm. And that kind of defines the occult. The occult is referring to the phenomena of non-physical reality. And UFOs is one subset of that phenomenon.
Yeah, now that's one subset, like you said. Yeah. I want to get into the occult a little bit more, discuss that more in depth.
They always say that.
Yeah.
They always say that occult. Yeah, they did say that.
Yeah, I noticed something. I know why they have him on here. He's a Christian scientist. That's why.
Christian scientist.
Most scientists that I know that are normally like atheists or agnostic won't ever say that there's only two life forms of intelligence, which is humans and angels.
Right.
So I'm just sitting here going, oh, dear God, I know why this video is in our queue now. My head. Where's my wine?
Yeah, but Dorian did notice something that I've noticed too, is that they always put an emphasis on the k sound. So they'll say occult. So it sounds very much like a cult.
Yeah.
You know? So it's occult, but it sounds like a cult. And I've noticed that too, and I think that's just kind of like, I don't know if they're subconsciously doing that or if they're consciously aware that they're doing that, but it is annoying. It's like, stop putting such an emphasis on the k. It's the occult. It's not occult. Yeah. Occult. But even so, I mean, the only reason why it's called a cult is because it was hidden knowledge. It was considered to be knowledge that was not condoned by the church, and so it was considered to be occulted knowledge.
Yeah. But I'm just listening to this, and no, there are such thing as scientists who do believe in God, people. I hate to say it, but it's just sometimes it's a little strange to hear somebody who has a degree, is a scientist, say that there's only 2 intelligent life forms out there.
Yeah.
I just, it hurts.
I'm not 100% sure. I guess and this is be for further discussion, but I'm not sure how I feel about demons being able to take on corporeal form whenever they like to. But let's get into the occult now. I mean, you mentioned you got into this because people sort of asked you these questions. How do you know about the occult? So you started looking into UFOs because you're an astronomer. I get that. That makes sense. Why do you know about the occult? I mean, that's like a totally different category.
Well, for example, with these UFOs, where they appear most common, and we're talking about the real ones, the most common appearance is 3 a.m. in the morning on lonely country roads. We astronomers hang out at lonely country roads at 3 a.m. in the morning.
So does Lucifer with the fiddle.
So
Yeah, but which part of the world are they talking about? So no matter where they are in the world, UFOs only appear at 3 a.m.
on lonely country roads. I know why they do the lonely country roads, because they're meeting up with Lucifer and his fiddle, or they're looking for some pretty hot cow action.
Yeah, really. I mean, you gotta admit, for a Christian scientist, that's some pretty hard evidence that they've seen UFOs only at 3 a.m. So, thus the occult. I mean,
I wonder what they were drinking.
That is some pretty rock solid logic right there. I mean, it's really hard for me to create some kind of a defense for that.
I honestly want to know how much of the sacrilege wine they got into, if you know what I mean. Oh, just remember, the devil went down to Georgia.
Yep. But only at 3 a.m.
Astronomers that have the greatest number of encounters with these UFOs, but in fact, it's one of the very lowest. Now, what I
have to disagree with only astronomers have accounts of UFOs. No, then how do you explain all those fishermen who've been abducted, all those random hillbillies who've been abducted, all those people who are just normal everyday people that've been abducted, and it wasn't at 3 a.m.? Huh? Explain that one, Mr. Scientist. Without using the word drugs. 3 a.m. butt play, really, Hellbound?
When I was active doing astronomical research, is that there were 2 astronomers that I knew every time they came on the telescope, they saw UFOs. And their observing load was 3 or 4 hours per year. There were 3 of us graduate students that were logging 1,500 hours per year. We never saw a thing. But I knew those 2 astronomers that were having consistent encounters were deep into the occult. Their occult involvement.
I'm sorry, there were the 2 astrologers had those encounters. We're deep into the occult.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Aleister Crowley was an alien.
These astronomers high off cocaine, experimenting with each other's. Join the occult. Find out how right now.
At science.org. Oh. I like it like, if they see something, obviously they're part of the cult.
Yep. And also
That's
they
the
use
only explanation.
Yeah, and they also use this as such a blanket term. They just say, "Oh, well, they were associated with the occult and they saw these UFOs." That's like saying that, "Oh, okay, well, this guy saw a UFO and he's associated with Christianity." It's like, okay, how is he associated with Christianity, or how is he a Christian? It's like, they don't expand upon it. They just say it, but they never explain it.
The chat's blowing up with the sexual innuendos of cult. Or cult.
Oh, cult.
Oh, I hate to say it. They just make it too easy to do sex puns, okay? I
I
mean,
know, really.
we do too, but we don't do it like that. They think they're being innocent. We know they're not without them realizing it. We know
Yes.
they're being dirty,
I mean,
dirty
just
dogs.
exactly. Just because we're talking about being, drenched in baking grease and having God come inside of us and being lifted up to an alien planet and being butt probed doesn't mean we're perverts, okay?
Exactly. You do realize now I'm gonna find a picture of bacon and Photoshop it to look like Jesus.
Jesus being butt
Just because
probed
I can.
by bacon aliens.
Bacon. I could probably ask Soren to do that. Hey, honey, can you make a picture with your Photoshop of Jesus being probed by aliens that look like bacon?
The second re-erection.
I just
Oh
got
my
told
God.
they're not drunk enough. Here, honey, have some wine before I drink it all. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right. You're sick. I forgot you're not allowed to drink liquor.
They opened the door for these demons appearing as UFOs to come into the light. And since the three of us graduate students were not involved in the occult and had no occult encounters, we were not seeing anything. And so from that point onward, I put that correlation to the test. So
So because they weren't part of the occult, they weren't seeing anything.
Yep.
There's some logic holes there, but I'm not sure if they understand it yet.
No, I don't think they see it yet. These guys might have just been joshing them and just waiting to see what they would do.
I'm still wondering what the hell they're talking about and what this has to do with aliens.
I do too, but remember this is a 41-minute video, so they're going to have a lot of
yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
example, when I spoke in the Soviet Union in the late 1980s and early 1990s, when they're being still ruled by the communists, I was invited there actually by the Soviet lab to address physicists and chemists and other scientists with PhDs. And what I noticed is how many of them were deeply involved in the occult and consequently were having frequent UFO encounters. And so there's a correlation there.
Involved in the occult.
More of the UFO encounters.
Occult.
And so for North Africa and France and Soviet Russia, much higher.
So you have to be a communist and in the occult in order to see UFOs. This is why we're not seeing them, people.
I don't want to join Antifa, though.
I don't either.
Can I just see the aliens with a Ouija board then, if that's all they are?
No, I tried that. It doesn't work.
I like how he spoke to all of the Soviet Union. He spoke to all of them.
Did they sit them all in one room together? I didn't think there was a room big enough. Unless it was a scientist, the only ones that they believe are scientists. I'm pretty sure though if we Google it, he probably did go there and speak to scientists at like a meeting or something, but
exactly. Yeah, but he probably went to a meeting of Soviet scientists or maybe Soviet Christian scientists, but he didn't talk to the entire Soviet Union.
No, he just talked to a portion.
Right. Exactly. I'm just picking on his language. That's all. It's like me saying I talk to the United States. Okay. I talked to Canada earlier today. I talked to Canada.
Well, of course you did, because they're on the talk with us. Don't you know Dorian's the only Canadian that exists?
Well, I thought Dorian was their representative.
Only Canadian representative, same thing.
I could say I talked to the American government or a branch of the government if I just contacted your postal service. Technically, I contacted a branch of your government, so.
That's true.
That is true.
I talked to Bill. I talked to Bill. He works for the American government, and he says UFOs are real. He sees them on his paper route every morning.
Huh.
Wow. So it's confirmed with an agency of the United States government.
Exactly.
Wow.
This is interesting. Oh.
Percentage of the population is having these encounters than, say, the United States.
That makes sense. Now, the interest in the
Does
occult
not make
is not
sense.
limited to just Russian scientists. I mean, we're talking about American teenagers as well. I mean, this is pretty widespread. I remember, I go to my parents. They had a youth leader they worked with, and some people were in a dorm room. They were using a Ouija board, and this guy walked in. He was a youth pastor at the church. They walked in. And I can't remember his name. It was Matt or something like that.
Please be a
He came
demon
in
attack.
and
Please
the
be a
Ouija
demon
board
attack.
stopped working. The people actually asked the Ouija board, "What's the problem?" And the Ouija board spelled out Van, V-A-N. And they thought, "Oh, this thing's stupid," and they threw it away. What nobody knew is that Matt was this guy's middle name. His actual first name was Van. And you know, I've heard of some experiences like that.
The Ouija board all of a sudden can't work because of God-fearing Christians in the room. I'm sorry, that's just a load of shit, if you ask me. Somebody was fucking with them. Somebody probably did it just to mess with them. Because they didn't want their
Oh, for
parents
sure.
to get to know that they were playing with the board.
You know, you've gone to Russia. You've dealt with things like that. Have you had any other experiences that you know of?
For example, my wife and I did a college briefing. That's a Christian camp for 300 or 400 Christian college students. And we just said, okay, how many of you in your life have been involved in the occult? And they all said, oh, not at all. And then I gave them a detailed survey of different occult activities and found that the 1/3 of the girls had had an occult encounter.
Wow.
And about 10% of the guys did. And these are Christians who thought they were clean on the occult. And what I found out in talking to the college women is that the most frequent way they got exposed was during their teenage years, where they would have a sleepover. And somebody would haul out a Ouija board or some kind of astrological forecasting device, and that's how they got exposed.
That's lame.
And so we spent the rest of the
It is
weekend with them saying, here's how
I was
you
expecting more when he said girls sleepover party, so.
I know, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping at least maybe like a pillow fight in their underwear.
I didn't catch that. My headphone fell out. What do you see bits of the lesbian miss?
It's just so it shows. I would love to see what this list was. What questions they asked them that they considered to be a cult.
Apparently, they considered looking at your horoscope as part of the occult. I've seen tests like this. They're stupid. If you've ever encountered a Ouija board or a spirit board, if you ever seen a ghost or had a friend who wasn't Christian, yeah, that was one of the main things. Do you have friends who are not Christians who may be part of the occult? Do you know people who are in the goth culture? Yeah. And if you do, apparently you've been exposed to the occult and you didn't know it, and God is mad at you.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Well, good. Now I don't have to wonder what those questions are.
closing the doors of the occult. So these demons.
You're welcome. There's just a few of the questions I remember. But he probably had a different fucking quiz than this one. This one was put together by the Christian club at my high school.
Okay.
Cannot impact your life.
Now that's interesting. We, my wife and I have kind of a policy that our kids, we have a lot of kids, and they just don't spend the night at other people's houses. This isn't the only reason by any, or even the main reason, but it certainly is one of the reasons. It just comes back to, you never really know what's going to happen when your kids spend the night at someone's house, for sure. But that's really interesting to hear that. That's where most of these students.
I hate to say it, he's a lame dad. I mean, my parents looked forward to dumping us off at our friends' houses.
Yeah, but you don't know who they're going to be talking to. What
That's
kind
how
of
you
an
know.
influence they're going to have.
That's why you need to get to know your kids' friends' parents. I mean, how hard is it to go over there and introduce yourself, talk to them, and make sure that the kids aren't going to do something stupid like summon a demon?
Well, even if they do, I mean, that's up to them. If they want to whip out a Ouija board and start playing with it, that's up to them.
Yeah. Though I remember as a kid, the only thing that we really did at sleepovers was paint each other's nails, watch movies, giggle, have a lot of caffeine and junk food.
Mm,
I mean, we're kind of lame.
yeah. You mean you didn't like sacrifice a virgin and cut off their head and draw a pentagram with their blood?
No, her mom said it was too messy.
Oh, huh. Gee. Well, my experiences were just a little different.
Well, you're a boy. Boys do things you're not supposed to do.
Like having sex with goats, killing them and spraying their blood and making signs with a pentagram, trying to call up some kind of a demon. Yeah, okay.
Pretty much. I mean, all we do is sacrifice our virginity and we become impregnated with the spawn of Satan. So
You Americans really have weird times. Like, no judging, but whew.
No judging.
well, what do you
but
Canadians do?
yeah, eh?
You
What do
play-
you Canadians do, eh?
Well, we just sit around and enjoy some maple syrup, some pancakes, and
watch hockey.
that's about it.
You sit there and
That's a
spell
Blue Jays.
Canada, eh? CANADA.
Oh my God. We promise we're not racist. We promise we're not sexist. We promise we're not any of those things. We're just assholes, people. Remember this.
Hey, what do you mean? Dorian's white, I think.
I'm pretty
I'm
sure.
not being racist. I'm not being racist. If anything, I'm being offensive to his culture.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not being racist.
Oh, we're bad people.
He's got involved in some of those things. You mentioned the Ouija board was one of them. What are some of these other things that people get involved with that they probably don't even realize are occult materials?
Interesting about the college men, then the number one way they got exposed was through occult video games. And so just watching what kind of video game.
Wow.
Leave my video games out of this.
Occult video games. Wow.
Probably any or all the scary video games out there, the horror games.
Sonic the Demonic Hedgehog.
Yeah, probably. Mario Brother goes into a whole nother dimension and he fights ghosts.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely the occult right there.
And he rides a dinosaur.
Yep. I think in the Black Pullet they talk about video games, or was that the Key of Solomon? Shoot, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Anyhow, one of those things they talk about video games and Mario Brothers.
Oh my God.
If you engage in, that can be a factor.
Yeah.
Now, I've also seen things which are much more innocent. So, for example, there was a couple in our church. I mean, I'm not just an astronomer, I'm also a pastor like you guys.
Yes.
And so I got a call from a couple and said, we just bought this home, and there's a room that's 10 degrees colder than all the other rooms, and there's knives and forks floating in midair in this room. And
What?
so they were
I want video proof of this shit. So even the look on their faces is like, okay, you have to be fucking with us.
It's 10 degrees cooler. It's in the northwestern part of our house, and we don't know why, but it's 10 degrees cooler than the rest of the house.
And our silverware is floating in the air, and we think there might be a magnetic pole in here. We're not sure. Somebody had to be playing with one of those stupid Ouija boards again. It was probably Johnny. Those damn video games. I want video proof of this one.
heard that there was a demon that was causing all this. I said, well, there has to be some article left behind by the previous owner. You need to find that article and destroy it. They said, well, we've already done that. We spent 2 days searching the house. We can't find anything. They said, well, wait a minute. How about if I just come over, we pray and ask the Lord to help us find? So there's got to be something, because I knew their life was clean. So I said, there's got to be something done by the previous owner. And so I went over to the house. We prayed for 15 minutes. I said, what about the attic? I said, we've searched that. I said, what about under the house, the basement? Took care of that. I said, what about the garage? They said, we've taken care of that. I said, let's go into the room. So I went into the room, and what I noticed was that there was a faint octagonal outline on one of the walls. And then I scratched a little bit of the paint. I asked them if I could do that, and discovered that the room was painted over. And the paint color underneath was midnight blue. He said, are you aware that midnight blue is a favorite color for seances? I said, no.
What?
That explains it. That explains it. Of course. Of course. I mean, it's so obvious.
Because the room was blue, it had to be used for seances.
Mhm.
Not because it was a boy's room or the girl liked that color.
Yep. Because, yes, blue is the favorite color of people who do seances.
I thought it would be black or purple.
I've
I just never realized
Go
that
ahead.
whole color can be synonymous with magic. For that, it's like, oh, you can't wear this color because only witches wear that color.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of a color that is supposed to be good for seances. It doesn't really matter. I mean, seances are pretty much part of spiritualism, and so are Ouija boards. I mean, that's part of spiritualism, people who are into contacting spirits. And I've never heard of anybody saying that midnight blue or any color in particular is supposed to be good for seances. So I don't know where this guy is getting this information.
No, I mean, honestly, the only time you consider any colors in consideration is like, well, we can use black for protection or white for the guiding light, stuff like that. I've never really heard of blue being used for anything besides water and air. So, honestly, hell, I don't know.
Hmm.
I have a white room and my board works perfectly fine in it.
We need to find what this octagonal thing was. It was about 3 feet in diameter. So I said, let's go into the garage. They said, we've already searched that. So I said, let's go there anyway. I said, there's a whole bunch of lumber on the rafters up there. And they said, have you been through that? And they said, no, we haven't. It's just lumber. And I said, let's haul all the lumber down. We hauled all the lumber down, and we found an octagonal shaped astrological on the wall. We destroyed it. The room returned to normal.
And what was it again? You broke up a little bit there.
Yeah, it was an astrological forecasting device.
Wow. Okay.
So we destroyed that. The temperature of the room went back to normal, and there was no more floating spoons and forks.
Okay, I got questions about this experience on the other side of this break. Right now, we got to go to break. So we're going to go to commercial. We're going to come back, and I'm like, what did I just listen to? All right, so we're gonna come back and check that out. There, and also we're gonna see what people can do.
Even they are like, what the fuck?
I'm sure somebody out there going, oh, Christ. Yeah, I think I have done some of this. So we're going to be right back. Also, we're going to answer a Bible contradiction.
I've known I've done some of this.
We're going to tell you a little bit more about our Church with Hugh Ross from Reasons to Believe. We'll be right back.
Hey, pause it.
Truth Revolution.
So
There we go.
Okay, so they found some kind of an octagonal thing that was some kind of an astrological device.
Yeah, that's what
didn't
he's
make
saying. It was
any
an
sense to me.
He said octagonal, and I was thinking, hey, it's a dartboard. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about anyone who does astrology. I don't really do much astrology or anything like that. What significance would an octagon have in it?
It wouldn't. It wouldn't have anything. I mean, if you had maybe what would it be? A septa? No, wait, octa, septa, hecta, dodeca. I forget exactly what 12 would be. A dodeca? Dodecahedron? A dodecahedron? I don't know how you would pronounce it, but if it was going to be a 12-sided thing, which it would have to be for an astrology thing. I mean, but even then it doesn't make any sense because I mean, unless somebody just created it just for the fun of it, or maybe a meditation device or a meditation focused device, I could see that. But I mean, all astrology is pretty much just done with paper and pen, paper and pencil and the calculator, and you figure it all out and draw out the houses and all this stuff. But yeah, I don't understand why you would have an octagonal device. That doesn't make any sense.
Animus is saying octagons are not used in the occult or spiritualism. You can use them in shamanism, but totally separate purposes.
I'd just be kind of curious how that would let forks and knives and spoons and whatnot fly in a room, because that'd be one hell of a prank if I could get my hand on that board and just start sticking it around in places. So you go to Walmart,
right?
Exactly.
Go to Walmart, stick it underneath one of their displays or something, and
watch the forks and the knives go flying.
Attention customers, we got a code 3 ectoplasm in the home hardware department, so please avoid this while we get to Ghostbusters.
What we call our local exorcist. You might want to keep your kids away from aisle 3 right now.
Oh, and by the way, we'll have a bunch of forks on discount.
I mean, an octagon can be used in the occult, but I mean, you could use it to represent the 8 Sabbats. You could also use it to represent which one is it? It could be used to represent one of it could be used to represent 12-sided. 12 is water, I think. It could be used as the Ptolemaic symbol representation of an element, because there are certain there's like the cube, the cube, the 4-sided triangular looking one, and the pentagon, and also the 12-sided are associated with elements. I can't exactly, I'd have to look it up. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But even so, it wouldn't have anything to do with astrology.
Yeah, and Anima said it would be for actual negativity.
Navigation.
Navigation, yeah. So honestly, I don't
for actual navigation. I don't know.
I don't see how it would cause that kind of thing to go on in a room.
What was
Is
that?
everything okay? No, the cat fell off the top of the rabbit hutch and knocked like everything down onto Soren.
Oh.
I will be right back. Talk among yourselves, because I need to go find a towel because they just spilled tea everywhere.
Oh, okay, all right. So I'll look it up. It's going to represent one, but even so, it doesn't make any sense what they're talking about.
It just seems like the more extreme you get into your Christianity, more extreme you get into Christianity, the smaller and smaller the items need to be for these weird events to occur.
Yeah, really.
Like, they could probably find like a random colored nail and be like, you know what, this was probably used in a witchcraft symbolistic ritual of some kind. Mm-hmm. This is why you have 12 demons making your headboard rattle at night. So
yeah, and I agree with you, Dorian. It seems like what they do is they find weird stuff, and whatever it is, they just associate it with the occult. But like I've said in other videos, I mean, there's a certain limit to it. It's not like everything in the entire universe is associated with the occult. You know, I mean, it's completely ridiculous to do that. You know, I mean, you can associate almost, but you can associate anything with anything, you know?
But if they even read their Bible, Jesus said, like, yo, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move a mountain.
Did
And
he
if you're
say
one of my
yo?
fault, and the hip to Jesus did, yeah.
Hip Jesus, he's all, yo, you Israelites, y'all whack.
And then he even said to them, like, if you have faith in me, the devils and stuff can't harm you. So somehow there's all these devout Christians being attacked by demons that they claim are like stalking them 24/7, even though in their scripture it says that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. That's
So-
because their faith is not strong enough. That's what it is.
Exactly. So Francis Verde was just hot tea everywhere. Everyone's fine.
Oh, okay, good.
The cat ran off. I think she's just upset that she was not graceful anymore. But Soren's keyboard got hit and it wasn't the waterproof one, so we're hoping nothing comes of it.
Is the keyboard okay?
Yeah, it's fine. It just
Okay.
looks like it spilled on it. It doesn't look like it spilled inside of it because it's one of the newer keyboards that has really small spaces in between the keys and the out part. So it might have not even done any damage. She might get one or two keys sticking. That's about it. But no,
Okay.
no serious burns.
Okay. So 12 is the a 12-sided 12-sided object is associated with spirit, and it is called the dodecahedron. And an octahedron is 8-sided, and it's associated with air, and that's based on the Ptolemaic Ptolemaic elemental symbols.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it does have a place in the occult, whether we like it or not.
Well, it does, but it doesn't make any sense that it would be associated with astrology. An eight-sided object still wouldn't have anything to do with astrology.
Not that I can think of, unless it's just the casing of holding it. It could have just been the frame that they put it in or how they framed it.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody did maybe they did. Maybe they carved an octagonal piece of wood and then drew the zodiac symbols around it. Maybe they did. Maybe they found it, but I don't know how you would do that, because where would you put the other 4? I mean, I guess you could do it. You just have to measure. It just doesn't make any sense. It just seems weird. It was probably something else, and they just associated with the zodiacs.
It is somebody who, for a while, was sounding credible. Now it's like, I don't know so much, dude.
And we're back. Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, that was really spooky. Kind of creeped me out. Well, good. Now, see, I'm going to have to make you leave, or we're going to have problems here. No. All right, welcome back. We're talking about the occult today, and different ways that the stuff comes into your life. That's right. You know, maybe you've been exposed. You never know. We're going to find out. That's right. So we're with Dr. Hugh Ross from Reasons to Believe. He has authored a whole bunch of books that we talk about on this show. Some of my favorite books. I got my bookshelf right back there.
That's my favorite book.
Who is Adam? I'm not even going to go through them all.
Like
There's
totally.
go to reasons.org, in fact. You can go to our website, truthrevolution.tv, here every week, and we're going to link to reasons.org. And we might link to his book, Little Green Men. Can we do that? Yes. Lights in the Sky and Little Green Men. Hey, Hugh, can you hold that book up so people can see what it looks like by chance? Yeah, this is the book right there. So a book that he co-authored about what we're talking about today. Is excellent information. Now, this is some crazy stuff. Now, I don't know how much I would agree with, but obviously I like Hugh Ross. I think he's very intelligent.
Right.
We agree with him on so much stuff. This is one of those things where I go, you're kind of blowing my mind here. So you go back to this room. These people, they're home. They said that there were knives and silverware suspended in the air in this room. And after you removed the octagonal astrological device from their home, this didn't happen anymore.
The temperature went back to normal. So the room felt just like all the other rooms. I mean, the other thing they share with me is when they entered the room, they just kind of felt really weird, like a presence was there. And that went up. They also talked to the neighbors and found out that there were teenage boys holding seances in that room. So they went to the extra step of just saying, Lord, we agree with you in prayer, that was against your will and that was displeasing, and that's something we're not going to allow to happen ever again in this room. And so, yeah, they've been living in the house ever since, and no problems.
Man, now
So that one article took care of it.
Blame it on teenage boys, why don't you?
Because I have I'll have people come to me and
God
say,
saves the day.
I have a Bible out on my table, and when I leave the room and I come back, the Bible's on the bookshelf, and this happened to me, and I think there's a demon, and a lot of times I'll be thinking, I think a demon has better things to do than rearrange your shelves, but so I think sometimes people attribute things to demons when it's probably just.
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm sorry, Dorian.
I once, just for the fun of it, I tried these weird experiments. I put a Ouija board out with a placenta piece on it, had my webcam aimed at it for 24 hours. Nothing happened. Everything in my room was the exact same. Temperature, the exact same. So maybe I'm not demonic enough or the demons don't like me, but my own experiments have come up with nada.
Did you put money on the Ouija board?
No, but I put candles, I put stones, I reversed my silver pentagram. I did like everything else I could. My rune stones were on there, and nothing.
Maybe you weren't doing it right.
I'll tell you this much. Normally with boards and everything, you have to have a human aspect to it because they drain the energy from the person to move the object. That they're borrowing your energy to do that, or that's normally what they say they're doing. Just letting it sit there open like that probably won't get you any results to begin with. I can tell you that much. It would be one of those you would probably have to sit there with it, and it would draw the energy from you to move it. Though the crystals, on the other hand, it could have drawn the energy from those as well. It all depends on, and you might also not live in, I don't know, a place that is haunted as fuck or some shit like that. Results vary. And I do have to agree, it probably has a lot to do with psychological stuff, and sometimes I don't believe that a spirit is pushing the planchette. Sometimes I do believe it is a person subconsciously doing it. So.
And also, I put in the chat earlier, but I made a mistake. It's not the Ptolemaic solids, it was the Platonic. So that was my mistake.
Okay.
So I corrected it, yeah. Platonic solids.
Yeah. But I also have to agree that the demons won't go around putting your Bible up for you. I'm pretty sure that was your kid.
Absent-mindedness, or the kid moved something. Right. But how do we know? Like, what do you think the reasoning is? Why would they room be cooler? Why would they suspend things in the air? Do they even have the power to affect things physically like that?
I don't know why the demons do that. Maybe they were trying to intimidate the new owners, because often that's what happens, especially when the new owners are Christians. I don't think the demon was too happy that Christians were taking over the house. What can we do to sort of scare these Christians off and get them to buy a different home? So that might have been going on. But the real principle here is these demons cannot invade your life unless you invite them. They need an invitation. And so different occult articles or occult practices are ways that you can invite these demons into your life. And if you don't invite them, they can't touch you.
So the spirits are religious bigots.
Apparently. Even though last I checked, spirits were around before Christianity was. So fuck.
I mean, you would think in this day and age that, you know, we would not have these religious, bigoted spirits running around trying to get people out of their house.
Yeah, you think we'd have social justice warrior spirits?
Yeah, it's terrible. Religious, bigoted spirits. Terrible.
Good night, Mary. But no, just well, it's only happening to Christians. Well, then explain to people who are agnostic, who have quite a bit of hauntings in their houses. I mean, honestly, it's not only happening to somebody because they're Christian. And I don't believe that it's demons. I just believe, I like how it automatically has to be demons. It can't be anything else.
Yep.
So it's one of those that I believe in the paranormal and stuff like that, as you guys know fully. There are some things that I will purely sit there and go, no, that's not paranormal. That's just this. I will sit there and debunk things, but at the same time, I'll sit there and go, okay, I have no explanation for that shit.
And they're anti-Christian demons too.
I know. What about the Christian spirits who actually? Oh wait, they know those as angels. If a spirit helps, they're a good Christian angel. They can't be a witch from the past who wants to protect you. They have to be a Christian angel. Because they're the only religion that is nice enough to do that. That's kind of what it's sounding like.
I don't want people to get scared. I mean, this is Halloween, right?
Right.
Don't be afraid. If you haven't invited them, they're not coming.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, you know, there is something to the demons not liking that. And someone might be thinking, well, that's stupid. Why would a demon care about a house? There is something about demons being territorial and territorial spirits. My friend, Pastor Eric Villanueva, has written an article for the Christian Research Journal about territorial spirits. Maybe we can link to that as well. Mm-hmm. But this is, you know, who would you say is the most vulnerable when it comes to occult materials?
Well, I'd say the ones that are the most vulnerable would be children of parents or grandparents that are deep into the occult. Because demons will work through authority lines. And so here you could have, say, an 8-year-old boy who has never been involved in the occult, but because his parents are deeply involved, the demons, rather than attacking the parents, go after him. And so this is why I tell people who have parents or grandparents or uncles or aunts that are deep into the occult, you need to confess what they're doing to the Lord in prayer as being against his will. And some you personally.
So just because one of your family members isn't Christian, you have to pray for forgiveness for them because you feel bad for God.
Mm-hmm. I love how it fixes everything. So if you, no matter what's going on with your life, if you repent your sins and turn your life over to Jesus, even if you are a Christian, apparently if you do it again and confess your sins, it's, whatever it is that's going on in your life, somehow it's miraculously cured. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing.
I mean, my brother is Christian, but at the same time, he's like, I don't pray for God to forgive you of your sins. That's your own damn choice, not mine. And I'm like, good, because I don't need you to pray for me. He's like, good, I won't. But it's just one of those, you're sitting there going, so you have to be responsible if you're Christian for your family members' sins. That's essentially what it sounds like he's saying. It's your fault your family member is this, so you have to pray for forgiveness for them.
Actually, I've heard that. My family and I, we used to live in a small town, and there was this one church there, and it was kind of a cultish church, like heavily cultish. And my mom used to love to read Stephen King. My dad had back injuries and all that, and the church told my mom the reason why he's not healing is because she has those demonic books in the house. So it's her fault for messing around with the occult, apparently.
The occult.
And
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's her fault because something she did affects someone who had no relation to that, like had no view of that at all. So it's weird Christian logic.
So basically, you put the blame for something on somebody else so you feel better.
Yeah.
It's your fault that so-and-so is hurt because you're reading Stephen King. No, it's because he lifted something and hurt himself. Can't it be his fault for himself? Do I have to be responsible for everything my husband does? Do I have to be responsible for the fact that Soren has a cold? No. Soren got a cold because Soren's been working way too damn much. So therefore, it's Soren's damn fault for wanting to support the family. And Soren's not arguing, so therefore, I was correct.
Yay.
Our Skype
And when you
our Skype connection just broke up. So
yeah.
if you could repeat that thing, what we really do want to know, I want to make sure the listeners get, if you've been involved in occultic stuff, if your family has been involved in it, what do you do at that point? So,
Well, if your parents or your grandparents or uncle and aunt have been involved in the occult, you need to pray and agree with God in prayer that what they're doing displeases His will, that you personally repudiate what they're doing, and that breaks the link. No longer can the demon use these authority figures in your life to invade your life. And so, if you got a boss that's deep into the occult, or a girlfriend is deep into the occult, same thing, because there's an authority connection there. But you can break that link simply by agreeing with God in prayer what they're doing, and you're only responsible for what you know. If you've got a father that's involved in some secret occult activity that no one in the family knows about, that can't impact you. It's what you know that is important. So if you don't repudiate what you know, that could be an open door for invasion in your own life.
that's very good. And I like how you said that you take it to the Lord and you repent or you repudiate that with the Lord. You give it into the Lord's hands. There's way too many people who we see sometimes when they come up against occultic things or demonic things, they talk like, hey, I'm coming against this and I stand against you, Satan. And we don't have the power to do that in our own. I'm actually reminded of the biblical story where some guys were saying to some demons, hey, I cast you out in the name of Jesus whom Paul preaches. And the demons looked and said, well, I know Jesus and I've heard of Paul, but I don't know who you are. And then jumped out and beat these guys. Do you remember that story?
I remember that story, right. We need to realize these demons are more powerful than we are. After all, they're not constrained by the physics of the universe.
Yeah.
And so we're going to need some supernatural help to deal with them. And that's how we're commanded in the Bible. We ally ourselves with Jesus Christ, God the Father, and the Holy Spirit. They are more powerful than demons. But it's important that we agree with God's truth about the danger of the occult. If we do that, then that cuts the link.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to jump into a Bible contradiction, and then after that, we're going to come back and talk about things like horoscopes, which some of you probably didn't
Bible
realize.
contradiction?
Bible contradiction.
This is interesting. I want to know what a Bible contradiction is.
Yeah, really. Isn't that just like two passages?
They fall to the ground or not. In Acts 26:14, it says, when we had fallen to the ground, I heard a voice speaking to me. This is talking about when Saul was on the road to Damascus.
Yeah, Saul's on the road to Damascus. Jesus appears to him.
Acts 9:7, however, says the men who were traveling with him stood speechless, hearing the sound but seeing no one.
So which one is it?
Which one is it? Yeah.
Did they stand there or did they fall to the ground?
Right.
Yeah, okay. Well, our correct acronym, we use the A for author's intention. Okay, what was the author intending on communicating? What was he communicating? The author of the book of Acts is Dr. Luke. And so Luke has written this historical narrative, this historical information. In Luke chapter, or in Acts chapter 9, you see very clearly what Luke is doing. He's giving a record of the event.
Right.
Okay, so Paul's going, this light shines down. It says when the men were traveling with him, they all stood speechless. That's what Luke records. Everybody stood speechless. Now, fast forward to Acts 26, where someone says we all fell to the ground. Is Luke recording the event there? No. It's actually interesting. When you look, the intention of the author here was not to record the event. His intention was to record someone else describing the event.
Right.
So it was actually Paul. He was talking to some people, and Luke was recording what Paul was saying to them. Now, whether it was Paul using hyperbole, or whether Paul was just saying, at one point we stood and later on we all fell down, that's not the point here. The point is that at one point Luke was giving an actual historical description, and at this point he's telling you what someone said about it. Those things don't have to line up because the Bible records lies all the time.
Right.
Peter told Jesus, I will die for you. I will never leave you. Yeah, right. He broke that promise.
Yes, he did.
The Bible recorded him saying that. The Bible recorded him not following through on that. So Scripture, we can still say it's all the way true, even when it records things that didn't happen, because it's recording the fact that it didn't happen, even though someone said it would.
Right.
But actually, Peter
in a roundabout way told the truth, because later on in his life, he actually did die for Jesus.
Yeah,
but not at that point.
I'm not sure it counts if you run away first.
Right.
It counts.
Yeah, Dr. Ross, is there anything else you want to add to that?
Oh, you guys answered that perfectly. I wouldn't have answered it, so congratulations.
All right. That's our Bible contradiction.
Bible contradiction.
I like how they put the rock
Okay,
music
we're
in.
just getting to the end of the show.
You really?
Maybe 5 or 10 minutes to stick with us and give us more information. Because I'm wondering, and maybe you can give us a lead into it, and then we only got about 60 seconds before we have to jump and do our podcast portion only. But when we're talking about the occult here, if people are saying, hey, what are some things that I just need to be aware of quickly? We would say horoscopes, Ouija boards. Is there anything else you might want to just point out and say, you should know about this?
Yeah, being a fortune teller. Anything where you're trying to gain abnormal power, that's not available to us human beings. It's trying to get some occult information, some occult power, people pursuing miracles.
So I actually made my first meme on this so far.
In the Soviet Union, for example, is that the communist.
If anyone wants to go on Twitter and type in #HeathenHaven, I got a little meme up there. If anyone's glad, anyone is welcome to participate.
What is it? What is
If
it?
you go #HeathenHaven on Twitter, I started a little thing there with the whole all cult.
Oh, okay.
So it's up for anyone who wants to participate in tonight's themes memes.
All cult, huh?
Yeah.
Hashtag Heathen Haven, one word.
One word, Heathen Haven.
It just sent me an update that you uploaded a picture.
Yeah.
All cult. Hashtag Heathen Haven. Okay.
And everyone
yeah.
there, participate.
I like that.
Love to see what you guys have. Don't be shy.
I'm retweeting it, and eventually I'll get my memes up about the lady.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. Eventually.
Okay, I'm happy those were saved on my OneDrive that's connected to my Google Drive, so I was able to save my pictures.
I hope I live long enough to see that.
Oh my God, it'll be up this week. I had time to just sit here and edit unadulterated, so therefore it will be up this week. I guarantee it will be up before Friday. All right, you have my solemnly swear.
Who? Loki. I remember Loki way back when she was gonna do this thing. She was gonna do this take this thing. She's gonna do this thing with a chalkboard. Yeah, that's it. I remember that.
It will be coming. I fucking swear to every deity. No, I swear to Jeebus. I swear to zombie Jeebus with bacon. It will be up.
Her hair was golden brown. She lived with a person named Soren. It was a crazy time, I tell you. Crazy time.
I fucking love and hate you guys all at the same time. Oh, at least I'm giving myself more of a deadline, okay?
I ain't holding my breath.
But when I post it, you're gonna be eating those words, bitch.
Ooh, them fighting words.
Them beef fighting words. Mm-hmm. Mister doing like 3 fucking live streams in one goddamn week.
I guess I'll be eating a lot of crow with those words, huh?
Exactly. You're gonna be stuck with Raven sandwiches. Oh.
Back it up with a little foot in mouth.
Well, it's better a foot in the mouth than something else in the mouth, okay? I was about to make a really bad joke, but I'm not going to make one on Dorian Spence.
Oh, like Dorian cares.
I'll stick my Tumblr rights at you. Be careful.
I know. I'll stick my Tumblr rights at you. I have like 400,000, and I don't even know how that happened.
How the hell did you do that?
I don't know. I posted a giveaway, and I sent my giveaway stuff out, and then all of a sudden I have all these followers, and it scares me. It just frightens me, and I haven't really logged on to Tumblr in the last 4 months, so I don't know why they're still following me.
Is for sponsoring occult physics research at their major university.
We're going to have to jump to that on the podcast portion. We've got about 15 seconds here. So I tell you, we're going to come back to that. We're going to get that on the other side of this break here. We're going to break for like 5 seconds if you listen to the podcast. If you don't get the podcast, you're listening on the radio, go get the podcast at truthrevolution.tv. Yeah, so you can find it in any of your podcast software as well. All right, we're going to come right back to this. If you've been dealing with any of this information, we'd love to help you at Revolution Church. Come on out. You know where we're at. Truth Revolution. And we're on live. Okay, so this is for the podcast.
One of those, man.
Sorry I had to interrupt you there. Tell us a little bit more about the Soviet Union when you went out there. What was going on?
Well, we Americans were naive. We had no idea just how backward things were in the Soviet Union, but they were well aware of that. And so they recognized that they were going to be able to compete with America for military supremacy. They were going to have to develop weapons that we Americans weren't touching. And so their major universities literally sponsored departments of occult physics, where physicists were basically exploring these occult tools. And explains why, when I addressed audiences of physicists at that time, such a high percentage of them were demon-possessed. They became demon-possessed through the research in occult physics. And the goal of the Russian government was to develop occult weapons that they could use against the West.
Occult weapons.
And, they didn't get very far, but it did result in their physicists running into serious problems with demonic influence over their lives.
And I remember you telling me something about a colleague that came and prayed. What was that all about?
Well, I remember I addressed this one audience of about 100 physicists, and about 15 of them were screaming obscenities before I even got up to speak. And the obscenities were not directed towards me, they were directed towards Jesus, basically accusing Jesus of horrible, vile acts. And it's like, I hear longshoremen using the Lord's name in vain.
Jesus was fucking your mother. Honestly.
That's pretty hard.
Yeah, I know, and that's how you came to be. You're a child of Jesus, Dorian.
Jesus loves me. This I know, for some pedophile told me so.
You got to finish that song.
I don't know the rest of the words right now, so unfortunately.
But they don't accuse Jesus of being a serial homosexual rapist.
Wow.
So it's like, hearing that coming out, and then when I tried to speak, they just kept interrupting me with all these obscenities. And so I basically went straight to Q&A. But I had another lecture, and for the second lecture,
that hurt.
I invited a Christian colleague. And
I think they just didn't want to hear your lecture and just wanted Q&A.
No, I heard like some little spike in the sound. Did you guys hear that?
No, I got mine at a pretty moderate volume.
Okay, it was probably on my end then.
Yeah, I didn't hear it on mine either, and I have in-butt earphones on right now.
They're Christian from America, and said, I know you're not a scientist. I just want you to be in this room and pray. I want you to pray that the Lord will silence the demons. And so that's exactly what he did. And throughout my entire talk, all these demon-possessed men and women were utterly quiet. Wow. That got the attention of all the others in the audience. I said, no one's ever been able to shut these folks up before. They've been avoiding us for years. Now they're all quiet. What's going on?
I gotta
They
try
decided
that.
to show you respect by being quiet.
Hmm.
They might have been saying, they're going, if we sit here quietly, they're going to think they're God did a miracle, and it's going to be funny as shit. They're going to talk about this for years.
It's
There's
just
someone that has greater power.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's just so funny. It's just like they use these little sort of like anecdotal things to prove something, but there's never. I mean, for example, if I did something and it was like every time I did it, something definitely happened, I would record it somehow. I would have some kind of a proof of it so that later on I could show it to people and say, look, I did this and this happened. There's no other explanation for it except something supernatural or whatever.
Exactly.
If stuff
mean,
like this is actually happening, why aren't they recording it? Or keeping track of it or having something, because apparently there must have been other witnesses in the room, right?
There should have been. And I mean, though back then they didn't have cameras everywhere like we do now.
What? How old is this video?
Well, what he's referring to is when he went to Soviet Russia. Is when they were quiet.
Well, they were probably quiet just out of being polite. I mean, I don't know. Anyhow, yeah, that was just my whole point.
Yeah, they do. Honestly, some of these people don't have proof, and they won't show proof, or they'll refer you to their assistant that was definitely there and saw it all.
Mm-hmm.
The person that they're paying.
Mm-hmm. So what are you saying, Loki?
So basically, sometimes you'll have these people say, well, my proof is so-and-so because they were there. And like, wait, doesn't so-and-so work for you? So can you tell them if they don't lie that they're not getting paid this week?
Too funny.
Angelic beings that are inhabiting these individuals. And that opened them up to the gospel message like they'd never been opened up before. So we saw a great response to the gospel. I can tell you this as a pastor, as an astronomer, I've never seen such a high percentage of people in my audience praying to give their lives to Jesus Christ, like I did in the Soviet Union. I was addressing audiences of physicists and chemists. I mean, it was over 90% in some cases.
Oh my goodness! Well, praise God for that. That's probably because they've seen firsthand what the other side was really like.
Well, they've seen it firsthand, the other side, and they also told me, every week we're required to attend a 2-hour lecture on scientific atheism. And so there's nothing like having to sit through hundreds of those lectures to convince you there must really be a God.
Oh, bullshit. No.
Yeah.
No, they're not making them sit through a 2-hour-long lecture about scientific atheism. That's fucking bullshit.
I would have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah. I mean, like you said earlier, Loki, there are scientists who they have their own personal beliefs about whatever. They have their own personal beliefs. But when they're in the role of, going through and using the scientific method to determine whatever it is, they're using that scientific method. They're letting the evidence lead to the conclusion. They're not beginning with the conclusion and then working to find the evidence to back it up. And then they're taking that evidence and they're giving it to other people and they're saying, hey, look, what is your results? Because here's my results. And what is your results? And then whatever it is that they get from that, and if they, what do they call it, to compare it with other people who are doing similar studies, and then they go through, and I mean, it's a very long process to actually change or really contribute like something that is actually going to be accepted as a theory in the scientific community. And they're not telling people how they should or should not believe, because it's not part of their job. They're scientists. That's their job. Their personal beliefs, whatever it is, as long as it doesn't interfere with what they're doing, and they know for sure that it's not going to interfere with what they're doing. I mean, that's what they're. It's like believing that a surgeon is going to dress up and go into surgery and sit there and say, "Oh no, God's going to heal this person. I don't have to do anything." It's like, come on, bullshit. They're still going to do their job. Even if they do believe in a God or don't believe in a God, or believe something else, or Hindu or Buddhist or pagan or whatever.
Exactly. And it's ridiculous to think just because of your job title, you're this. I mean, I know plenty of people in different fields who range from being Christian to Buddhist to Muslim. I mean, even in fucking flipping custodial, you have people of all religious backgrounds. I mean, one of our main people who they had to actually legally allow her to work on Christmas because she is Jehovah's Witness and she does not believe in holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on a weekday. And granted, she still got holiday pay because it's a government thing, but she did put up a good enough argument to get to work on Christmas. And that was actually kind of, the college was like, you know what, screw it. Why not? We don't want to argue with this. We don't want to take it to court. But it's one of those things of, if you're going to respect one belief system, you need to respect it all. And that includes the stuff that you just look at and go, well, these guys are Looney Tunes. And regardless if they're a Looney Tune in science when it comes to their belief, doesn't mean their research is wrong. Because there's a lot of good scientists out there who are Christian. There's a lot of good scientists out there who are Muslim. There's a lot of great scientists out there as well, good scientists out there as well that are anything. And we don't look at the background of what they believe. We look at the background of their research. And just to classify that, just because they believe this, they're stronger in their belief and they're stronger in their work than so-and-so who doesn't believe in this is kind of stupid. And that's the feeling I'm getting off this guy, is the only time you get accurate information is if the scientist is Christian. And that's what's kind of bothering me a little bit with him. And I apologize for my tangent.
Okay.
Well, I was just going to bring up something a little bit lighter. Like, if some guy actually had to make a plan for a 2-hour lecture every week or whatever, that guy's job must really suck.
I know! I would just say recycle last month's lectures. Boom, done.
And not to mention how much of a waste that would be.
The Soviet Union was known to waste taxpayer waste money, but I don't think they'd waste money like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Ignore Loki. Loki just had a bottle of wine to themselves.
Uh-oh.
People on a regular basis that there is no God, that all of this is an accident, and unless they really want to believe that, they're going to have to come face to face with the evidence at some point.
Right.
You know, I think it's interesting you mentioned that they were shouting obscenities at Jesus, not at you. And I've heard this. I don't know enough to know how true it is. Maybe you can address it. But I've heard that primarily when demon-possessed people talk, their hatred is thrown at Jesus Christ. It's not thrown at any of the other major religious figures. It's not thrown at Gandhi. It's not thrown at Muhammad. It's always directed at Jesus Christ.
It's always directed at Jesus Christ. There's a very intense anger and fear that you see in the tonation of their voice.
And
it wasn't just the.
Give us an example of this. I mean, actually, I've actually heard quite the opposite. Anybody I've heard that is angry is angry with Christians. They don't care about Jesus. They actually don't even care about God. They don't even really care about the Bible. They actually care about the Christians, the ones who are actually saying something, being judgmental, saying people are going to go to hell or whatever. And most of the time, I actually hear people justifying, saying, well, Jesus probably actually didn't really believe that. If this individual actually existed, I don't believe he believed that. And then people will say that even the Bible itself doesn't say that, but it is how Christian extremists interpret that. So no, I call bullshit on that. I don't think so.
I kind of do too, because it's like, oh, everybody hates on Christians. Okay, we're hating on Christians right now, but we're hating on the ones who are claiming everybody hates on you. So I think we're a little bit of assholes there, but at the same time, not everyone sits there and go, oh, well, Christians are the worst. Mm-hmm. No, as of lately, people are saying Muslims are the worst. Yep. Which, honestly, everybody's the worst. End of story. We're even the worst, goddammit.
It's how they shouted them out. I mean, they were literally screaming. And I only seen demon-possessed people behave that way. The other thing that you notice is that as a Christian, when you approach these people, they recoil in terror. So they're afraid of something that's within us. Mm. For example, I saw that here in America. It was close to Caltech. I was walking down the street, and there was this woman, oh gee, a good 150 feet away from me. She fell on the ground, curled up into the fetal position, and kept yelling, keep away from me, don't get near me. And again, that's something you can only see from demon-possessed people.
Yeah.
Or from a person who's had too much drugs or is just fucking crazy. Or has very high social anxiety. There's a lot of explanations for that. And it also could be a form of schizophrenia where they're having delusions of things surrounding them. I'm looking at mental issues right now. It doesn't necessarily mean it's because she's possessed by a fucking demon.
That'd be cool, though.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be cool. I share my head with the demon. His name is George. He's kind of a dick.
A demon within her, terrified of what might happen next.
Either that, or I just want to be sure that it was demonic. Had you put on deodorant that day?
I love that. Thank you. That is probably the best meme ever. Are you sure it was demonic? Was there deodorant involved?
Really?
I mean, I gotta give props to interesting cotton candy shirt guy. I mean, that is the best questioning of somebody's sanity right there. Are you sure you had deodorant on? Are you sure she wasn't afraid of your stank? Fucking bravo, dude. That was great.
This is serious stuff. We want to talk a little bit about what some of these things are. Okay, horoscopes. Why do we mention? Because a lot of people share stuff on horoscopes. I see this on Facebook all the time. People sharing, oh, you know,
it's all fun and games.
Right. It's just a fun way to predict what's going to happen.
Well, I wouldn't say that every fortune teller or every horoscope reader or every palm reader is going to lead to a demonic encounter, because a lot of people that are involved in this, they don't have a demonic connection. So yeah, it's harmless. But the problem is you never know where they have a demonic connection, where they don't. And if you go to a palm reader who has a demon working with her, you're going to be in trouble.
Yes.
Astrology is so old. I mean, it goes back to Babylonian times. I mean, and it even probably goes farther back than that. And I mean, even the story, although it's not in the Bible, but I mean, the story of the three Magi's coming, they're following the star, and the star leads them to Jesus. I mean, that could be interpreted as an astrological story. They're following a northern star, which could be Venus, or I mean, they've actually done research into when and where and what star this might have actually been. But astrology has been around way before the cult of Christ, and it's like these people don't quite understand that their religion did not like instantaneously just pop into existence in a vacuum. There were other cultures around them that had an influence on the cult of Christ. A huge one, of course, is Judaism, but also the other cultures around where the cult of Christ popped up. And those cultures practiced astrology. And there's nothing demonic about astrology. That's one of the reasons why it's been so accepted in our, especially in the Christian world, is because it's considered, it's not quite as taboo as tarot and some other things. So I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I don't either. I mean, I don't see any other topic that they're really been talking about besides Demon of the Occult. And when they first started, they said, we're going to talk about Halloween, everybody. And I have not heard a mention of Halloween since then, unless you guys have. I mean, shit. I'm surprised that we actually had a video that's lasting the entire time for once. It's just one video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The best thing to do is just stay away from that.
It's also 8:53, so we probably also want to start wrapping it up.
All right, so do we want to just pause it here and finish the little bit, because there's about 10 minutes left of it. Finish that next week? Or just call this video good because they're not really getting to very many points. It feels like they're backtracking.
I mean, we should probably finish it up at some point. I mean, it's at 33:10, maybe. Yeah, well, I mean, it's at 33:10 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we could end it here because we still have what, 8 minutes left. So yeah, I mean, we should probably save it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the time on Twitter.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
So that you'll have it.
Next week I'll be doing it because Doreen was last week, or Damien.
Yes, the Antichrist was last week.
Yes, Damien was last week, so I'll be doing it next week. Yay!
And I'm turning off my camera because screw everybody.
Yeah, well, I just don't have my camera on because, well, I'm in my underwear and I'm not wearing pants, so.
Like I said, I just drank an entire bottle of wine listening to this guy, so I kind of apologize that the last bit of it I am tipsy as shit. Loki found some really good wine at the wine store, so this is what happens when they're celebrating a week off.
Nice.
And then the potential of having to actually be responsible for people's lives and equipment that costs more than I will make in 3 years.
Wow.
Because people apparently hate me. Or I think I'm responsible. Really. I don't know which. I don't know why people think I'm responsible. I really don't. I mean, what?
So when do you go back to work?
I go to work. So far as I know, I'm going back to work on Thursday. I'm working a 4:30 in the afternoon to a 1 a.m. shift. We have boom lift training. If you don't know what that is, you know those cool lifts that go up there and it has 1 or 2 people in a bucket that's normally or supposed to be wearing a harness.
It's not a scissor lift, right? It's like one that it has an arm and a bucket.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so it's not a scissor lift.
No, but we're also being trained on the scissor lift too.
Scissor lifts are fun.
They are, but here's the problem. I am a bigger girl, so I would have to go up by myself in the scissor lift. Because right there, I'm close enough I'm not gonna lie, people. I'm 370 last time I was weighed, even though if I don't look it. But the weight capacity of a scissor lift is 500 pounds.
Well, they
So
could
that
get a
limits
really
my options.
well. They could get a really short, skinny person to go up with you.
Well, we do have 1 or 2 people like that on my team, so that's not a problem. It's just the person that does the training is a bigger guy. And he himself weighs close to 300, even though it's more of because he's 6'5". But there's those little things that I will lovingly have to do on Thursday, and the boom lift also involves harness training, which sucks. But I will be in charge of the entire crew as far as I know at the immediate moment. So I may be getting a call Monday to go in and actually re-sign my contract. And there is perhaps a 50-50 chance that they will be pushing me to being a full-time employee after that point, because they rarely give part-time employees positions like this.
Isn't that what you wanted, though?
I do.
Okay.
But at the same time, because our main manager, the main person in charge of custodial, put in his resignation and is leaving, the person who is normally in charge of window crew is actually now the backup until we get a permanent person in that position. That's why I'm being pushed into this job where I'm just like, why the hell do you think I'm responsible? But they've let me in charge so many other times for part-timers while they were doing training that apparently they have some confidence in me that I may not fully have in myself, but hey, I have people rooting for me saying you'll do fine.
Yeah, because I remember talking to you like, what was it, like 6 or 8 months or almost a year ago, where you were talking about how you wanted to get full-time.
Yeah, I still want to get full-time because with that comes benefits like I will get health insurance that's better than the current one I have, even if I have to pay an at-the-door fee. I will get retirement. I will have to work there less time in order to pay off my student loans completely. And I will still have a 0 payment every month, which is awesome. I will be able to get off food assistance. And right there is, you don't know how much I want to be off food stamps. Soren is proud because when they went in, they turned in their paperwork and told them, look, I have this job now. This is how much I make. Please take me off food stamps.
Okay, nice.
And so now we just have mine, which is going to cover what we need. If I get full time, that's an extra $2,000 a month coming into the household. That means getting an actual house is going to be a lot easier. Getting new equipment for YouTube is going to be a lot easier.
Sweet.
And being able to do more things with my life besides just work and sleep is going to be a lot easier. Granted, the weekdays would suck for me, but the weekends will be full of exploration and shit.
Nice.
So there's a lot more pros and cons of getting full-time right now. And I'm getting my license on I'm getting my permit to get my license on Tuesday. So you might want to stay off roads if you're in Washington because, yeah, Loki's going to attempt to drive.
All right. Well, hey, thanks all. I'm going to cut out because I'm going to go and check out Mad's stream. So thank you so much, Loki. This was a lot of fun. And Damien, thank you. Chat, thank you all.
I think I'm going to go over there and harass him too because he didn't come over here and harass us. That loser.
Yeah. All right.
It was nice seeing everyone.
Night, everybody.
Night, everyone. Thank you all for coming and have a great week. Blessed be.